everyone. Welcome to 10,000 Roads to Financial Independence today. Today, I have ourselves a very special guest, Vikram Jethwani. And Vikram works for Marcom18 company digital marketing team. And he has a lot of experience with digital marketing. But not only that, Vikram is a very seasoned investor in offshore. As well as, invested in stocks and all the other different various ventures as well. And most importantly, Vikram actually lives in Kuwait right now. And he has his digital marketing company that services a lot of clients in US and overseas. So it's a very interesting, Vikram, your portfolio really kind of like, to me, it was really, really interesting, very diverse. So very happy to have you here, Vikram.
Thank you, Elisa. It's such an honor to be on your show. I really appreciate, what you are doing, and I keep listening to your podcast and your YouTube videos as well, and they are fantastic. So thank you so much for having me on this show.
That's awesome. So Vikram, let's kind of start a little bit earlier. I think over here, I'm going to ask some taboo questions in terms of cultural differences and et cetera as well, since you're overseas over there in Kuwait. So tell me a little bit, we like to kind of start our show to understand the entrepreneurs and mindset. And so when did the influence of entrepreneurships kind of the influence of entrepreneurship comes to you in terms of your early childhood? When you're thinking back on your early childhood, who are the people that are most influential to kind of help you to gain passive incomes or thinking outside the box, essentially? And then what kind of incidents that really is memorable for you?
Sure, that's great. So I started my business journey, way back in year 2000, and just fresh out of college with a lot of ideas, with a lot of energy, and I started my own business. I wanted to do MBA, but I got the admission in MBA college. But then I decided that, why to do MBA? Let's do my own business. That will be the real MBA.
Right.
So I took the admission in an MBA college, and then came back to my hometown. And then I decided that, 2 years doing MBA, or let's say, if I do 3 years or 2 years in some real business, what will be more beneficial? Here I'm investing certain amount of money in MBA, and here I'm investing in my own business. So I adopted the other way, and I launched my own business. So that was education franchisee, IT education and coaching. And that was tremendous. I had such a great experience. 3 years, we had the license for 3 years, and I had such a great experience and learnings and success and failures in terms of, I was fresh out of college, and, I realized that there are a lot of other things. When you get successful, business owner has to take care of a lot of other things. So the company, I was working with, they really, there were some legal agreements and all, which were not favoring me. So I had my computers education center, and sooner I realized that there were 3 more just like me around me, So that was a learning that, you have to be very careful with certain things. So after that, those 3 years were really interesting for me. And after that, I moved to, full-time corporate roles across different parts of the world. And I worked with, I had the honor of working with some of the largest brands like Deloitte and Grant Thornton, and, some media houses like the Times of India, their online initiatives. And I started traveling across the world, and, because we used to have conferences and, training programs. So thankfully, I started moving across the world, and then I started gaining some experience, because I am a business owner, by heart and soul, So I always wanted to have that experience so that I can again, become an entrepreneur. So that was my sole purpose. But,
so learning kind of on the job, but using the jobs to kind of like really creating the foundation for building on the business. So let me kind of go back a little bit more. So you're saying that in the first 3 years, you kind of launch out of college doing the businesses, and it probably had a little bit failure. And so you decided to actually take on the day jobs at the corporation work, or at that 3 years, you also had a side job too?
Well, no, those 3 years I was full-time into my business. I used to start working 7 o'clock in the morning. I was the business owner. I had my trainers and faculties employed, but I used to take classes myself because I wanted to have that, have that experience, have that exposure, that how to deliver value to a student. So
Right.
I wanted to be a trainer. So I started, much before my employees, so my employees used to come at 9:30. I used to come at my place at 7 o'clock. And till the last time, you know that how businesses work.
Yeah.
So I used to be here at least till 9 o'clock in the evening, 10 o'clock in the evening, just to keep learning. There was so much of learning and so much to do. So yeah, that time it was like more than full time.
Yeah, yeah. And then also product testing too. I love the couple things that you mentioned over there is because you're in the online training education program, like that's what you sell. You also try to sample other people's products. So essentially like learning about competitors or people who are doing like 10 step ahead of you, and then kind of observe from using the product itself as a user. I think that's a very important, whether it's going to any investment that you're doing, if you're thinking about actively doing certain things, it may be good to do something passive, have the people kind of guide you through, and then kind of reusing the product. A good salesman always use their own product for sure. So I love to kind of tease out that piece too. And so going ahead, so after 3 years, you mentioned that you kind of folded your business or decided maybe this is not the right venture to go, whether it's too much competition. So when do you actually decide to fold something, to say, okay, we've spent enough on this, maybe it's not a viable business? Because I love that you shared it with us, because that's a huge thing that people always, because you don't want to be like handing off like a one tree or something, but also we heard about you got to be focused on one venture, keep at it. So it's like, when do you decide that maybe it's not working out for you? Like, maybe there's a different vision that you had, etc.
Yeah. So the greatest challenge when I started, and after a few years, I realized that scaling up is the real challenge. You can start a business, you have certain degree of success, but after a point in time, scale up is really a big challenge. So I realized that, I'm not able to scale up after a point in time, and I'm made for much larger things. And thanks to my, we are a business family. So I've seen my father launching and closing and opening new businesses, in the nick of time. And failure was something that it was always a learning in our family. So my father, I have seen him, great successes and great failures. So successes, I really admire him, that how he handled his successes, but more than that, how he used to handle his failures. So he always inculcated those things in us, that there is nothing called failure. It's always a learning. Because I saw that there were many businesses which were very successful, and after a point in time, because of certain regulatory changes and certain changes in the market, we had to close that, shut it down. And again, he used to build businesses, new businesses. So he was always enthusiastic. So that's what I learned, that never be bogged down by any failure. That's a learning. And just, make it your strength, all that experience, and use that strength in launching another businesses,
Yeah.
So that's how so when we decided that, these 3 years, our license is going to expire and we are not going to renew.
Yeah.
He didn't say a word to me, because he said that this is your thing. You are the CEO of your company. You are the CEO of your life, not just. So
Yeah.
that was a big statement, that you are the CEO of your life,
Yeah.
do whatever you want. If you feel like that you want to have more exposure in larger multinationals, so that you can do something bigger in your future, you are made for that. If you are confident about that, okay, it's a small business, let's shut it down. You have made your, whatever you wanted. You're part of success
Right.
and failure, you got that. So we didn't really, um, we just did that, and we took it on stride. And then I moved to corporate roles.
Yeah.
And then I started, gaining more experience in marketing and communications. Branding was very important,
Yeah.
because I realized that all the multinational corporations, pretty much, they were able to do more. They were providing more value because of their brand. So then I realized that, let's say, there is a local business providing the same set of services, and there is a brand providing the same services, the brands are able to charge premium, which the local business cannot. So
Right.
let's say there is a food business, fast food business like Burger King. So Burger
Yeah.
King can charge, but if your local restaurant is selling, is selling the same kind of burger or same kind of food, they may not be able to charge that much, or they may not be having that kind of scale. So branding, that was the biggest learning for me, that branding is something very important, and the way you deliver value, because that is of course a part of value you deliver. When a customer comes to you, when a client comes to you, they want that kind of experience which is consistent, and and they have confidence in your brand.
Yeah.
So those were the learnings, and I never realized that I worked in the corporate world for more than 12-15 years after that, because that was so interesting. Thankfully, I was working with many companies where I found, where I had, superiors, which, maybe they saw that, this person is that kind, he's having that bent of mind. So let him work freely. So that's why, I never realized that I worked for a company like Grant Thornton for more than 5 years,
Yeah.
and they always gave me full freedom to launch my own initiatives, to launch my own projects, to get more training from other parts of the world, to go and train them in other parts of the world.
Right.
For example, I went to Hong Kong. I think you also belong to China, so so
Yeah.
that was very nice. I went to Hong Kong and delivered my experience as a part of training. So I
Yeah.
trained people from across APAC region. The
Yeah.
representatives from different countries.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. So that's why I never realized that I'm doing a job per se. It was
Yeah.
like a running a business in
Because you
itself.
run, yeah, it's like running a subdivision by yourself or so. So when you're working for these corporation, were you already switching to marketing because your background was IT, I'm assuming, and then were you already kind of like a switching to marketing because you saw the power of marketing?
Yeah. So marketing and technology. I realized that technology in itself is superficial unless it has some human connect.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why
Application. Yeah.
marketing also, I always feel that marketing and branding is something which is a channel between the seller and the buyer. So there is a connect between you. This is how you can connect with your buyer.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
not about making just promises or selling dreams. Marketing is something larger. How you deliver value, how you are connecting with your audience. So
Yeah.
that's why I decided that marketing and technology is the finest combination for me. And I must also tell you that I also did some journalism and editing in between. I work with a very traditional newspaper.
Yeah.
Because I had that journalistic bent of mine.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'm a very avid learner. I'm always curious to learn new things.
Mm-hmm.
So I jumped into journalism, and I don't know why they gave me the job in a traditional newspaper, but yes, I, I, I did some, a lot of stories and, traditional kind of journalistic
Mm-hmm.
stories. I used to go to
Yeah.
press conferences and do the stories and, doing the editing and all. But yes, I really enjoyed that. And from that, I learned that how to develop content, how to
Mm-hmm.
connect with the audiences, because in newspapers, you have to have those kind of punchlines, those kind of headings,
Right.
those kind of those kind of slugs and all. So
Yeah.
that was a part of learning, that how to have the content which people can connect with quickly. Maybe
Mm.
your story is strong, but if you are not giving it the right kind of headline,
Yeah.
nobody is going to read that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a small tweak in a headline can give you millions of views.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's why I
especially in the
enjoyed my.
Twitter world now, right? Digital, like people can't read more than like 3 sentences when they like just scan through for content. That's very much like a supersized newspaper for them to kind of
Absolutely.
tease
It's a
out the
3 second word.
information.
We have to grab the attention in just 3 seconds. So
Yeah,
that's why
yeah,
it matters a lot how you just phrase your headings and how you phrase your content, and
yeah.
advertising and all. That's pretty important.
Yeah, because now like the advertising, the hottest the world was talking about storytelling. So I think that's very interesting. I love like how I love to kind of highlight this as our listener kind of tease that out too, is sometimes the experiences in the jobs that you wouldn't otherwise think about it is related. But if you were looking for that particular skill sets, then go look for the job. It can really kind of help you, you accumulate experiences so that it fits into a larger picture. I love that. I love what you just said over there, because working for newspaper is not someone most people would do for digital marketing, but that storyline development, how you actually writing the contents and etc. I love how you like just connect the two together. Yeah. Yeah. And so,
Yeah, so
so you went through corporation, you traveled through all different countries, and tell us a little bit more about when that transition happens again, when you experience all these different jobs, and then you're like, okay, now it's time, I'm ready, I'm gonna pull out and do my, open my Marcom 18, or this is the direction where I want to be. Is it just kind of all really clear to you up in the beginning where you want to be, or is it kind of like you weed through all these jobs and somehow they kind of become like one day you wake up, you're like, oh, this is the business I need to create? How does that kind of transition happen?
well, that's very interesting question. Thanks for asking this. Basically, Marcom 18 was in my mind as if for always. I wanted to launch my own business, but after 2015, I realized that online media is booming. It's coming up like anything, and there is a lot which can be done. There are no boundaries as such in terms of countries. You can sit anywhere and serve any part of the world from anywhere. All you need is right kind of approach and skill sets to serve those markets. And then I realized that yes, this is going to be the right time. However, I didn't launch it overnight. I was just brewing that idea while during my full-time jobs and all. So during evenings, like I have said, many business owners saying, you have like 8 to 10 hours in your job, but you still have 4 or 5 hours in the evening.
Right.
So I used to spend that time in evolving that idea, connecting with people, and thankfully, I replaced my full-time income while being on the job, with my own business
Yeah.
in consulting. So that really gave me confidence to because I have the family, and as a responsible person, you can't really leave the job and overnight and start some new business without
Yeah.
any so that stability was very important for me. And thankfully, I had those streams coming in. And as I was working with my job, and I realized that now I'm having much more than what I'm getting from my full-time job. So then I left my job, and then I established this setup, and then I started moving full-time into my business and setting the brand and connecting with more clients. Thankfully, the companies I used to work with, they became the clients. So they were the very first clients because they knew me.
Yeah.
Without having the brand as such, I they knew me. So they said, okay, you have these assignments with you. So I work with like 4 or 5 companies, and most of these companies, they were working with me. So I was happy that, okay, earlier I was working with one company, now I'm working with 5 different companies.
Right.
And
right.
I knew the culture, I knew the work style, I knew everything about the business and all. So that was a sort of advantage for me. And I'm really grateful to everyone who they provided me opportunity, that okay, like you can work with us, just after leaving the job. So
Yeah.
still I have very good
Amazing.
relationship, thankfully, that wherever I work, so I keep, they keep coming back to me with more and more work.
Yeah.
And that gave me confidence to jump into full-time business.
Yeah, yeah. So, and then meanwhile, when you're working a full-time job and working another full-time job on your business, to realizing your dream, essentially, you were also doing some investment, correct? Can you tell us a little bit about, that mind switch? Is there a particular incident made you think about, hey, I actually have to accumulate passive incomes, so that even if my business fails, or my company doesn't need me for working for a job anymore, that I could continue to survive? Like, is that the thought process? Like, what is your thought process when you first start doing your investments?
I was always attracted towards investment in stock markets,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because I used to analyze the markets and how the markets are moving and the regulatory changes. Because I was working with consulting organizations, so
Gotcha. Yeah.
we were having the environment of analysis.
Yeah.
So I used to track markets a lot, what's happening in the stock market across the world, especially in the US market and
Mm-hmm.
NASDAQ and all, NYSE, and some Japanese markets, and of course Indian stock markets. So we used to analyze a lot. So that gave me somehow I became interested in stock market investing.
Mm-hmm.
And along with that, I also did Forex investing, uh,
What
very
is
heavily.
Forex investing?
So I remember
What is Forex
yeah, foreign
investing?
exchange.
Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Foreign
Foreign
exchange.
exchange. Yes.
Interesting.
So, yes, so I started trading in foreign exchange. Foreign exchange is the largest market in the world.
Mm.
Like the daily turnover is $5 billion. I'm
Wow.
sorry, $5 trillion.
Wow.
So the daily turnover is like long back. In 90s it was $500 billion a day. So it's the
Wow.
world's largest market, forex.
Wow.
Currency. So
Yeah.
I used to trade in US dollar and euro and yen, these
Yeah.
three, four primary currencies,
Yeah.
as against the INR, Indian National Rupee.
Gotcha.
So, yes, so that's a huge market. However, I realized that it's very volatile. It's very, uh, we don't have control over many things.
Mm-hmm.
How good you are with analysis, still you cannot control many things.
Mm-hmm.
One comment from a regulatory body, let's say US US regulatory exchange, if they come up with any statement, overnight things change. The
Mm-hmm.
next day when you get up, things have changed. All your analysis is useless. you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
a single statement from a prime minister of any country, from a president of any country, or even any ministers, which impacts the market,
Yeah.
and then your analysis is nowhere. So then I
Right.
realized,
Right.
my goodness, like during Brexit, I was during those times, 2015 and 16, those were the years when I was investing in stock market and forex very heavily, and I was
Mm-hmm.
very active trader. I was doing the trading, also day trading. During lunch hours, I used to do day trading and things like that for forex exchange.
Mm-hmm.
During weekends, I used to spend my weekends with my friends and fellow investors to analyze
Yeah.
the market and stuff like that. However, I realized that whatever time I was spending was not worth it.
Yeah.
Because it makes you tired. You get tired
Yeah.
because
You're
this market
trading
is so
time for
volatile.
money still in that sense. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so my brain was always ticking. um, and the returns were like what I was getting in, let's say, 6 months. You can it can be wiped out in one day.
Yes.
What you earn in 1 year.
Yeah.
So for 2 years I did that. I realized that, oh my god, it's such an attractive market. You are making like thousands of dollars in one day, and after 6 months you realize that maybe you are in red,
Yeah.
because one fine event, one Brexit kind of event, or one any these kind of regulatory changes or market
Mm-hmm.
changes, or maybe sometimes there are war kind of situations, any situations, it can happen overnight.
Yeah.
Then all your investment, all your gains are nowhere. So then I realized that stock market and forex market is something nobody can control, especially
Yeah.
retail investors like us.
Mm-hmm.
So then I found, and thankfully, we were investing in real estate,
Mm-hmm.
and my father and my family, they were investing in real estate, and I was also contributing, a bit in that. Then I
Mm-hmm.
realized that, oh my God, real estate is the most stable form of investment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, it's not that exciting because you can't really spend much time on that. What if you are buying an apartment? What else you can do? You just,
Yeah.
it's on rent. You just have to collect the rent. Maybe here's some maintenance issues and all. you know
Yeah. Yeah.
as a business owner, that was not exciting to me. But I realized that real estate is something that is giving me consistent returns. At least I'm having the peace of mind.
Yeah.
And maybe I had that. Uh, Age also matters. So during my
Yeah.
that age bracket between 25 and 35, that's when you are very full of energy and you want to do things like that, and you want to be engaged and doing,
Mm-hmm.
doing things. Engagement is the biggest thing. real estate was not giving me that engagement, but it was giving me consistency, stability,
Mm-hmm.
which I realized when I crossed 35 years of age, and I realized that this is something which I should be into. I should be spending time into this
Mm-hmm.
kind of investing, and
Yeah.
I should be encouraging more people, because we have a good network of investors who invest in stock markets and all these forex and all. Then
Mm-hmm.
I became a strong advocate towards real estate investing,
Mm-hmm.
because that's it's stable, you get tax
And
benefits,
passive.
and you have
Yeah.
control, and it's
Yep.
passive.
Yeah.
So there are so many advantages, and that's why I always propagate for real estate investing. And
Mm-hmm.
nowadays, in US market, for example, multifamily apartment investing is really nice channel of investing.
Yeah.
So I have the honor of working with many multifamily investors, and like yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
coaches like yourself. So I'm very happy that now this kind of awareness is there.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier during my time when I started investing in real estate, we didn't have real estate coaches, so
Mm-hmm.
nobody was telling me things. I was learning things the hard way.
Mm-hmm.
I was there was a skin in the game. We were investing, we were earning and losing money, and then learning.
Yeah.
um, there were no coaches like yourself, and who tell us that this is the right way of investing, and this is how things can be done, these are the
Mm-hmm.
pitfalls.
Yeah.
So thankfully now we have this new channel coming up, and I'm seeing that a lot of people are getting benefited out of that.
Yeah, 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 definitely. And so you moved to forward with digital marketing in 2000. When did you start Marcom 18 then in this case?
2016.
2016. So how did you decide that? Do you have a niche that you really focus on? Because there's so much digital marketing out there, even now, even more, because since the COVID, everybody has switched online. So it's being really accelerated. And when you search for marketing on site, on the website, there are gazillion of hits just kind of comes up. So do you have any suggestions for someone who just starting their business in terms of marketing, etc.? What did you do special so that you kind of come out as finding clients, having clients that are interested in paying for your services, potentially at a more premium price, because you're providing a better value for them? So where did you, what is kind of like the back and forth struggle and finding the right voice for yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. In fact, just carving your niche and deciding on your value proposition is really very important.
Mm-hmm.
And as a marketing company, if we are not able to come up with our value proposition, then how we are going to develop that kind of value proposition for our clients?
Mm-hmm.
So I always, think, before going to the client, I always think I go back and, decide that what should be the right approach for this company. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any cookie cutter solutions, and that is one of the strengths that we have niche, like real estate and financial services.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was investing in these
Right.
markets, and I have real time experience, in these markets, in these
Mm-hmm.
industries, so that gives me a unique advantage that I'm not just a marketing professional just doing things out of marketing principles fundamental, not like that, but I have really experienced these markets, how
Mm-hmm.
things work, what are the challenges, what are the advantages, and how if a new business is coming up in real estate, let's say education or real estate investing or
Mm-hmm.
syndication, what should be their approach, and how they should be reaching the market, how they should be differentiating themselves. As you said that if let's say there are many companies which are in the same space,
Mm-hmm.
so how to carve out your own identity, because that's pretty important.
Yeah.
You should be different, and your approach should be really different, so that you have that recall value. So
Mm-hmm.
once your potential clients realize that yes, you are the right person, you are talking about the right things, you know your business in and out, then they are more confident in dealing with you. So
Yeah.
that confidence, confidence building measure, how you evoke that confidence, that trust in your potential client's mind space.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that it's not just about the mind space, you have to grab the heart space also.
Right.
So you are dealing with humans, in marketing and branding. I have always learned that marketing is not about funnels. Marketing is not about these fancy terms. It's about humans.
Right. Right.
So whenever I talk to my potential clients, I always try to tell them that don't think in terms of funnels.
Yeah.
Don't think you have a funnel, you will have 10,000 people in that funnel. Okay, as a principle, it's okay. But at the end of the day, you are going to deal with a real person in flesh and blood. They have their own responsibilities. They have their own. So how they are going to think, how you are going to make an impact in their lives. Are you delivering enough values? Are you really doing something which is going to improve their lives? You think about that first. It's not just about investing. You are making a real difference in someone's life.
Right.
They are investing with you, and you will be so happy when you deliver returns, and they feel happy about that yes, they made the right decision in working with you. So that's the only thing, the confidence and trust, and how to maintain that and keep on going. The consistency is the key. So these are some of the things I always emphasize on. So marketing is something, as I said, that it's very emotional also. It's a very responsible profession, that you are making difference in someone's life. And that's something which really our client also connect with very strongly. And many of the companies we work with, they are not just talking about their business. They talk about family life, they talk about mindset, they talk about like positive affirmations, like manifestation. How is that related to real estate investing? But yes, because you are covering each aspect of life of your investor. Like you talk about financial independence, for example. So when we say financial independence, what does that cover? So independence is about that feeling that now I'm not dependent on any particular event. I am confident enough. So financial independence is also about financial confidence, right?
Financial confidence that you can basically, without a day job, but without having to answer to any job, if you were to do nothing tomorrow, when you wake up, you're okay financially in a way.
Absolutely, yes. So you have that freedom that whenever you want to work, you can start your day whenever you want. You can end your day whenever you want. You can go for travel any day you want. Like when I started my own business, I started the rhythm of going for movies on Mondays, right? Because when I was in my full-time job, Mondays is something which you can't skip. You have to go to the office. So when I started my own business, I made sure that I'm going with my family on movies on Mondays and Tuesdays, so that they also feel that, oh my God, Papa, he used to go to the office on Mondays. Now he's coming with us. So I made sure that they also realize, my family also realized that this is these are the benefits of doing your own business. As a business owners, and, you have different responsibilities and you have different advantages also. So that's how I keep on evolving kind of rhythms in my family also. And that's interesting.
And then so since 2016, you have a few clients now, or well, you have many clients now, and I'm guessing that you have also developed a system for your digital marketing team so that you're not working in this like 24/7, that you can afford the luxury to, for example, the luxury of time to kind of take it whenever you want to take your family to the movie on Mondays. Or right now you live in Kuwait. That's actually an interesting story too. Going to dive into and ask you some question I'm always curious about. So what kind of system and what kind of system do you have like put into a place so that you're not working at your job 24/7, not job, but like your business, because it can take on a form by itself as well.
So either you run the business or the business runs you. So it's always better that the business runs without the business owner. So yes, we have certain processes and certain systems so that my team knows that what is going to come up and what are the critical priorities. And we always make sure that we know what is important and what is urgent. So there are certain fundamentals we follow within our team so that they know that, this is something sacrosanct and this has to go, this has to be delivered in any form because, that's more critical. And we have certain platforms, thanks to online world, we have so many project management systems, we have so many softwares, tools, and, other, those kind of technologies, which we can use. And like, my team is across the world, like, here in Kuwait, in Middle East, we don't have many resources here. I have resources in other parts of the world, in India, and we also pull in resources from the US, North America, and sometimes, from the Asia Pacific markets, So our resources are in different parts of the world. So we make sure that, we have our, soul defined. So the soul is very clear, like for Marcom18, excellence in client servicing is most important. And I always make sure that my team also appreciates that, at the end of the day, they are not dealing with any client per se. They are dealing with human beings. They have their businesses, and you have to provide excellence, in whatever you do. So that should be, and continuous improvement is something we vie for. Like every day, we strive for some improvement. I don't say that, go for any big changes or any, major, changes overnight, but keep on improving. There are things which can be improvised, slowly and steadily.
Yeah.
So I work like 1%, atomic habits. You must have read James Clear's Atomic Habits book. 1% difference, 1% increment every day. Compound, compounding effect. So I believe in that, and these are certain principles. Like compounding effect, client service excellence is very important for us, so that we are able to deliver, and we are able to maintain that trust and confidence. And because we are working in different parts of the world, like time zones, different time zones. For example, in the US market, the time zone is different when you work in the New Zealand time zone. These are radically different time zones. And then that's why sitting in the Middle East is very good for us, because I'm in the middle of the world. So I can cater to.
So that's why you're in Kuwait instead of India. That's kind of interesting too. So why did you make the move from India to Kuwait? Is it a personal reason? Is it for business, or kind of combined both?
That's professional reasons. And, I'm a trainer also. I'm a corporate trainer. So I got the opportunity to, to train some of the large corporates in this country. And then I got some, offers to work here, to come full time here, because I was traveling every now and then, So then I got this opportunity that, you rather come here and sit here, instead of traveling every now and then. And because that will save a lot of time and energy also, traveling. And then I moved with my family over here. And yes, we have some good brands with us, and we work with a lot of business owners and big brands as well. And it's a very dynamic market, evolving market in terms of technology, in terms of digital e-commerce. So that's why I moved to Kuwait. And I think this is one side of the story. I like traveling, so hopefully I have plans to move to some other countries in the I will maybe in the next year. Thanks to COVID this year I couldn't go anywhere, but I feel that in 2021 definitely I will explore more markets, and because that gives me more perspective. I'm always curious to know how different markets function. And as a business owner, I always look for opportunity, that, this is the right market where I can offer something which is valuable. So definitely, so this is on cards that I will look for some, other countries. And in digital, there is a lot of opportunity, and things are getting easier for us, for our kind of businesses, because we don't have any product per se. We don't have any those kind of restrictions and regulations. So as a digital agency, you can move across the world very swiftly. There are visas available, especially for these kind of businesses. So that's why I'm excited for the next year as well.
That's awesome. So designing your whole, because a lot of time people asking like, once you reach like financial independence, what do you do? So kind of really designing that for the lifestyle that you desire, like, or if you own your own business, design the lifestyle that you desire, so that you are the boss of your time and as well as the location where you want to be. That's awesome. Well, Vikram, that's awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about your experience of hiring your first employee? I think for a lot of our small business folks, getting outside of that business is, always a question mark for themselves. So like the moment where your experience of hiring your first employee, and what kind of suggestions do you have for people hiring their first employee?
I hired my first employee basically, when I worked with, one of my companies in my corporate life, so I had many people working with me, and I knew many people, and they were also interested in, having that kind of independence, because as a marketing head, I had my own style of working. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I had the privilege of many people approaching me that, are you looking for any employee? Are you looking for, can we
Mm-hmm.
work with you?
Yeah.
So thankfully, I have many good people who wanted to work with me, and they were ready to leave their jobs. And in fact, working on a lesser salary than what they were getting, just because I have that kind of flexibility, and independence, and
Mm.
creative mindset, and some opportunity to work on their own terms and
Mm-hmm.
in their own ways. So we are not rigid, because we are a creative agency, so we can't really have those mechanical way of functioning.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
uh, that's how I hired. I hired from my previous company, where I was working. So a few of the people, who were sort of looking for this kind of opportunity to work in
Mm-hmm.
a more dynamic market. So I
Mm-hmm.
hired from there. And
That's
when I
awesome.
hired, I definitely look for certain things, like creativity is one of the first things which I'll look for.
Mm-hmm.
How creative bent of mind one person is, and positivity is also something which is very important for us. Like, uh, we have all kind of challenges, all kind of problems, but if somebody is positive enough, if somebody is committed enough to overcome those challenges, that's more important. Sometimes there
Mm-hmm.
are big problems, but it takes a little bit of positive mindset to just resolve those issues. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm always inclined to look for these creativity and these attributes in my
Mm-hmm.
employees. And I never treat my um, employees as employees, because it's a family, and I don't have that bent of mind. I always feel that they are made for something, something better,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can contribute in their journeys, I'm always happy to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that wisdom with us. And Vikram, if so you read a lot. If someone was to starting doing marketing and getting their head wrapped around marketing, what would be kind of like the top 3 books you would suggest to us to read?
Yeah. So one of the first books I would suggest is From Good to Great, Jim Collins.
Mm-hmm.
This book defines that there are all kinds of companies, there are good companies, there are bad companies, but there are certain attributes which all the great companies have. So the journey from good to great is something, which is, and they have something in common.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about, let's say, Apple or HP or IBM or any company in the world, Coca-Cola, or any company, all these, big multinationals, they have certain common traits. You will find something common.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that they have passion for their customers, that they want to deliver value.
Mm-hmm.
They are passionate about something, like Apple is passionate about user experience, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a very small thing. Like, when you use a Apple phone, there are little things, they have improvised your experience a lot. So these little things, when put together,
Mm-hmm.
creates a huge impact on your customer.
Right. Yeah.
And all these companies have these common traits.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why their consumers love these, love these brands. They are connected. They're like
Mm-hmm.
Coca-Cola, they have, it's not just about a soft drink, they have many other campaigns, like, they establish like phone booths,
Mm-hmm.
in some parts of the world where, people could make, free international calls, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah,
They
that's awesome.
connect with their, yes, they connect with their audience in a very different way because they want to deliver that experience, and they want to showcase, they want to make sure that people know that, this brand care for them,
Right.
So,
It's to
yes.
put
So
people back into the equation, as you mentioned before. Yeah.
yes. So it's people equation. It's all about EQ, emotional quotient, how you connect with your customers and clients, and improving their lives, making a difference in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
The other book I would recommend is, of course, Atomic Habits. It's not directly about marketing, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely, I would say that any business owner who want to improve their marketing and branding and all, they should think in the long term that every small bit is leading into some kind of benefit. It's adding on. So
Mm-hmm.
they're building their equity. So the more, if they just look into the smaller parts of their brand and just keep on improvising that, it makes a huge impact after a long time. And we have realized that,
Mm-hmm.
when we started doing, especially, I always want to start to work with, small business owners who are just starting,
Mm-hmm.
because then we can create a lot of impact. And if it's a greenfield project, we have the advantage of, growing that brand. And, after a point in time, we realize that, they have reached a place
Mm-hmm.
which they deserve,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
really deserve.
Yeah.
So, and that's something, which make us very happy,
Mm-hmm.
that yes, we have made the difference. Because if we are preaching that, our client should make a difference in their clients or in their customers' lives,
Yeah.
we should also be doing that,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we can't really just preach, we have to do that also.
Yeah.
So
Align with the core value. Yes. Yeah.
yes, so that is one of our core values, to provide, client service excellence. So
Mm-hmm.
Atomic Habits is something, literally, I think everyone should read.
Mm-hmm.
And then third book, I would say that, The Miracle Morning is pretty good. you know so I always say that, I'm giving you these books because it's not just about marketing, it's about your mindset, it's about your life in overall. you know
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
so all the marketing professionals or all the business owners, who want to improvise their branding and marketing positioning, they should be reading these kind of books, so that, they are able to connect, and they are having that kind of mindset, to deliver value in the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's the ultimate thing. If you are providing value in the market, you will survive. Otherwise, customers take no time in, in forgetting a brand.
Right,
you know
right. People are forgettable. Yes. Well, that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Vikram, for sharing all your wisdoms on marketing with us today. And we'd like to kind of wrap it up with our last question, which is what are you doing right now for your kids in terms of teaching them the entrepreneur mindset and the concept of financial independence?
That's great. um, yes, so right now I'm, trying to make them learn the art of manifesting. you know
Mm-hmm.
So they have read a book called The Secret, which everyone knows, The Secret.
Mm-hmm.
And I have two daughters, and they have read The Secret, and they are learning positive affirmations, because I feel that, they should be confident enough to face any situation in life. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Once they are positive enough, they are confident enough, then they can meet any challenge in life.
Yeah.
Be it, financial independence, they will get, sooner or later. If they are attracting that thing, it will come.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making sure that they are attracting financial independence. They are attracting abundance in their life. They are attracting wisdom in their life. So this is my focus for at least, for the next 2 or 3 quarters. And after that, I'm sure that, they will learn this art, and then we'll move to the new themes.
Yeah,
There
the
is
more
so much to do.
tacticals. Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Vikram, for your visit today. And how does people find out Marcom18 services on digital marketing? And can you kind of leave us some of your content? We'll also post it underneath over here. Yeah, where do we find you?
Sure, Elisa. We have a website called Marcom18.com, and we have presence on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And I keep on coming out with training videos, educational videos, and all kind of content on marketing, on mindset, on business ownership, and how to evolve your life on these channels. And I'm really happy to be a part of your show, because I really admire what you're doing, and your
Thank you.
concept of financial independence through multiple streams of income. And it's such an honor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vikram, for your time. All right, this wraps up our chill today, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Sure. Thank you.